I'm Ilona Pitt and this is Made in the Midlands TV. In today's show, I would like to introduce you to one of our patrons, MHA MacIntyre Hudson, represented here today by one of the partners, Chris Barlow. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning, I'm well, thank you. Are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much for coming to our studio today. First of all, Chris, I think it would be great if you could give us the background of the company and what is it exactly that you do?
Okay, MHA MacIntyre Hudson are a firm of chartered accountants and business advisors. We operate globally, nationally and locally. Our nearest offices to here are Birmingham, where I'm based, and Leicester in the East Midlands. We were established back in 1880.
Oh, wow.
Formed in London and have grown significantly since then. We are now, according to the accountancy league tables, a top 20 firm in terms of turnover.
Right. Is it for UK, yeah?
For the UK,
Yeah.
yes. And what do we do? Well, we work with SMEs, owner-managed businesses and international groups to help them from an accountancy point of view and a tax point of view and a business advisor's point of view. So that's, on the one hand, it's sets of accounts, tax returns, VAT, PAYE. On the other hand, and where we think we can actually add some real value to these businesses, is working with them each step of the way to take them on their journey, whether it be formation of the company, whether it be expansion, whether it be sale, or just some tax planning advice as we go along.
So what do you think the unique point would be? What makes you stand out from the crowd?
Unique point of view, I think, is the way that we work with our clients. We're an award-winning firm and it's very much taking that step along with you. A business owner will always know more about their businesses than we can ever do. They're in it 24 hours a day, they live and breathe it. But if we can add our business expertise alongside that, that's where we can really add some value.
Fantastic. You have recently published a tax planning guide. What would you suggest companies and individuals should consider before the end of the tax year? I mean, we are at this point now when, this is the case.
Yes, I mean, at the moment, back at our offices, many of my staff are working on completing tax returns for the last tax year. To an extent, there's not a lot you can do with your tax liability if you're looking at it in January, following the end of the tax year. Absolutely, when the tax year ended back on the 5th of April. But with a view to the tax year that's going to end on the 5th of April 2017, there are various things that you can look at.
Yeah, I think that was my next question, actually, because should we actually consider now to make this liability, lesser later and a bit less stingy? What do we need to do?
I think you can look at it from both a company point of view or from an individual's point of view. If we perhaps look at the company first, you could have a company that's got a 31st of March year end, or this will work for any company year end. Perhaps look at corporation tax as a starting point. The rate of tax, corporation tax, falls from 20% to 19% from the 1st of April. Therefore,
is that 2017?
2017, yes. Therefore, if you've got income, you can perhaps look at when that income is going to be recognised, which side of that tax year, and pay a little less tax on it. You might also look at purchasing fixed assets. Now, what I mean by that is if you're looking at perhaps buying a machine, buying a van, buying some IT equipment, if you own that asset for just one day before the year end, you can get the tax relief. You can write that off against the profits that you make.
So just one makes a whole lot of difference.
It does, yeah, just one day.
Okay.
By owned, you can either physically own it or via a hire purchase agreement or a finance lease. It doesn't have to be physically owned in that regard. But just by having it for one day, you can write that value off. So it can make a significant difference. There's the usual commercial considerations, and you have to have the cash to be able to do it.
Yes.
But it's something you might want to think about. If you turn to individuals, the first thing to look at for individuals is where you sit in terms of the amount of tax that you pay. If you earn up to £43,000, you're a basic rate taxpayer. Once you go above that, you're a 40% taxpayer. And once you cross £150,000, you're an additional rate taxpayer. all people are entitled to what's called a dividend allowance. So you can have £5,000 of dividend, which you can have from your limited company, and you don't pay any tax, any additional tax on that. So if you have the option to declare a dividend out of your company, you might want to think about that. Now, there are usual considerations you want to have around that. For example, dividends have to be paid out of profits, but assuming you have profits, you can certainly consider payment of a dividend.
So when is that dividend has to actually be actioned for us to be able to make that saving?
A decision has to be made to pay that dividend within the relevant tax year.
Okay, fantastic. Any other tips you think you could give us?
I think you also want to consider pension payments. Pension payments are very useful from both a company and individual point of view. At the current stage, you can still get higher rate tax relief if you are a higher rate taxpayer and you make a pension contribution. But there's also a little income band that if your income is above 100,000 and less than £122,000, you actually pay 60% tax within there. You don't particularly want to be there, but if you are there, you can get 60% tax relief on your pension contribution by being in there. So it's something you may want to consider in that regard.
I totally understand. I mean, it's, as you said, it's something we need to plan ahead, and as people probably not having that knowledge, they're not able to realize of all these little things you could change. So I think that's where you come in, and you can really bring a massive value for customers and members. So yeah,
that's the point, and I think it's getting people to understand that tax planning is an ongoing thing. It's not something you can just dip into and dip out
on the 31st of January.
No, not on the 31st of January. It's something you need to plan for, and there's a window now that you can plan towards, but it's an ongoing process, and that's what we try and do with our clients.
Yeah, I think we need to put this across to people, because what happens really, we will all kind of put this idea off to the future. Yeah, I have to do it, but let me leave it till whenever. But yeah, we should just find it as a continuous process and get a specialist advice like yourselves.
Absolutely.
You recently released a manufacturing survey.
Yes.
So what did you primarily discover?
This was a survey done with our MHA network.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that took part.
over 500 respondents, which we were delighted about. This was also sponsored by Lloyds Banking Group, a fellow patron of Made in the Midlands. What we found, and I think you have to just consider the background to when we released this. This was just after the decision of the referendum for the UK to leave the EU. So what we saw, perhaps not surprisingly, was a little bit of concern and uncertainty as to what was actually going to follow. But businesses were all planning for growth, or the vast majority of businesses were planning for growth. The barriers that might affect that, though, were ultimately production costs rising, which they felt they couldn't pass on to their customers, and the skills gap. And what they were looking for...
Hot topic, yeah.
Indeed.
Yes.
What they were looking for is government to help them in terms of the skills gap. And you'll probably remember that when Theresa May became Prime Minister, she talked a lot about grammar schools. Well, what the manufacturers are saying to us is, that's great, but what we really want to see is vocational training.
Yes, yeah.
And then they were after government to help them in terms of reducing corporation tax, which we mentioned, and reduction of red tape, which is always high on that.
Always high on the agenda.
High on
as
that
well.
agenda,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. So when was it released, actually?
Was
it before or after Brexit?
It was after the survey questionnaire went out after the vote, and we released the survey in the tail end of last year, October, November time.
All right, so it's a very interesting time to get those views.
Yes.
I mean, in terms of what your clients tell you now following the survey, any particular comments?
I think picking up that point of the uncertainty that followed the decision, we saw a number of clients put things on hold for a short period of time to say, what are we going to do? We have one client in particular that springs to mind where they had agreed a management buyout for the management to buy out the owners. they do a lot of business in London, and they were fearful as to what was going to happen at that point. So they put it on hold, but they considered it. We helped them with that process, and they completed it only recently. So it's not necessarily a reason to stop doing things. It's a reason to just look and think, and then perhaps
and
carry
take
on.
action.
But also talking to another company the other day, their order book is the fullest they've had it for many years. So on the one hand, great positivity. On the other hand, I did speak to a client earlier this week where they have lost 2 customers who've now left the UK as a result of that decision. So still uncertainty, and definitely, but I think it's definitely...
it's about looking for the opportunities
it
now,
is,
okay? It
absolutely.
happened now.
Yeah, it
you
is,
know,
it is.
What's next?
Yeah,
on the,
indeed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So could you tell us as well, briefly, how MHA can support Made in the Midlands? You've been with us, you know, for quite some time now, always joining us at breakfast events, so, you know, you're very active patron, but maybe for those people who you have not reached yet, what is exactly that you can offer once again?
I think how we can help companies and individuals really is just helping them along each step of the journey. Very happy to help in terms of sets of accounts and tax returns, but as I've been talking about, it's tax planning that we really feel we can add some value to the business, working along each step of the journey and helping you. It may be that you feel there's cash caught up in your business and you've got cash flow difficulties. It may be you just feel you're paying too much tax. We can really add some value to that and help put that money back into your business.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming to our studio, Chris.
Thank you.
We've learned some very interesting information. If you need any advice, any further information, please contact Chris. All the details are down below. Or also leave any comments. Please like and share our videos. You can visit madeinthemidlands.tv for more content. We produce that weekly, bring you the freshest interviews. So thank you for watching again. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again very soon. Chris, thank you.
Thank you.